Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Don Water Sports Adam, and the topic I want to talk about today is the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame, and just I wanted just to go over it a little bit with you. If you haven't seen it, it's something you should watch. It is a little long, it's a little lengthy. It's kind of like an award show. Sometimes they'll spill over, but last night I was watching it with some friends, and I didn't. We were sitting there and we're like, oh, somebody's taking so long, but you know what? It's their moment. It's their. They earned that moment. Who am I to say they can't talk for 15 minutes? They earned that moment. They deserve that moment. If there was a Hall of Fame for regular people, I would. And if I were in it, or any of my friends were in it, they'd have their time. Let them have their time. That is what they lived for. That is their moment. So yeah, I hope you got a chance to watch. One of the guys I liked. Well, there's a few guys I liked. Few speeches. I'm going to start with Prime Time, and basically Prime Time, passionate speech, and he was the last guy to go. Um, Fitting for they saved the best for last. I guess you could say. Um, but Prime Time. If you don't know who Deion Sanders is, growing up as a child, you loved to hate him because he was so good and he had so much bravado and he talked a big game. But you know what? The man backed it up. And he may not have been a tackler, but like he said, he wasn't paid to make tackles. He was paid to make plays. He did tackle when he needed to, very gingerly, but he did do it. And Dion was all about surprises, all about not letting the fans down. Whether you loved him or hated him, it was, yes, about the money, being the highest paid cornerback in the league at the time. But the man brought it till he was 37 years. He was 37 years old, still running with these guys. And the only reason he did it was to see if he could do it. He was like, it's kind of like what Jordan did. Jordan came back just to see if he could do it. Deion Sanders same way, and he revolutionized a position. When you talk about a person who basically changes the game for the better, you're talking about a guy who basically had offenses scheme around him just to figure out how to not necessarily go to his side, but utilize the whole field without having to bother Dion. And when he would shut down a half of the field, that basically you're basically cutting down the football field just 55 and a half, 55 yards to cutting that down to half. So you only have half the field, which is less than 30 yards. That's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard to do. 27 yards and a half yards to you know do that. It's pretty hard to do. You know, um, but that's what he did. The next guy I'm going to talk about real quick before I get to the last guy is Shannon Sharp's speech. Very passionate. Um, Basically, Shannon Sharp, I grew to admire Shannon Sharp over the years as an analyst. As a player, I thought he talked a lot. But who doesn't? And we're talking about prime time and Shannon Sharp. But you know what? His speech was so heartfelt and so warm, and you're like, wow, this guy came from nothing. And what these guys showed is that they came from nothing. That they didn't. They took something that somebody said to them, whether it be kids or parents or something that somebody said to them, and they used it as fuel to the fire. And they basically said, don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and dream big. And that's what these two guys did. They dreamed big. And Shannon Sharp said that he wasn't even the best player in his family, which is giving kudos to Sterling Sharp, who, if you haven't seen Sterling Sharp or haven't read about him, he's a pretty good player in himself. He was he was the Randy Moss before the Randy Moss. He was the guy they were touting to be the next Jerry Rice. He was the next big receiver. Although he had a neck injury, which limited his effectiveness and shortened his career. So unfortunately, his bust may never be in Canton. Maybe it will. Hopefully, Shannon Sharp can lobby for him one day, but his bus will never be in Canton. But it's just good to see those guys, you know, for the first time, not being selfish and taking the spotlight and spreading it out to everybody else who deserved it. Last but not least, Ed Sable. Ed Sable went first in the ceremony. He's 94 years old, but he opened the game up for all of us. For all of us fans out there who love the game and listen to all those, songs that he played that he made from Sam Spake that would, you know, be the soundtrack to many of his NFL films. That's what he did. He took you inside the game, on the sidelines, with the personalities, with the fans, with the players, with the coaches, and he just took it and said, "Here, this is what they do. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it fascinating?" And here, that's why we've got, mic'd up, where a player is mic'd up for NFL films, and we hear all he says, the trash talking, the sideline conversations. You know what I mean? He did that, and you can thank him for that. And all I want to say is that it is tough to find good viewing. It is tough to find a moment that you can't that the NFL films hasn't captured. But what I want to say is football is back, and one of the reasons why we watch it the way we do today is because of Ed Sable. So, folks, even though the Hall of Fame weekend is over, unfortunately, usually they have a game tonight. Admire it. Sit back, relax. Because football's here, undisturbed, for the next 10 years. I'm your host, Hurry Up, Don One Sports. A Dog. I'll see you later.